Welcome to the last episode of ALAB Radio Trip to the Future. I am Rupert, and so far we have already talked about 6 sectors of public health, but there's one more left. In this episode, we will be tackling the field of microbiology. Just a fun fact for everyone, do you know that there are more microbes in our body than human cells? Well, now you know, and that is why the study of microorganisms is a big deal for all of us, especially now that we are battling COVID-19. For sure, this field of public health would offer us countless opportunities, and we have an esteemed guest just to discuss them with us. Today, we are lucky to have UP Manila College of Public Health Department of Medical Microbiology Chair and Assistant Professor Maria Margarita M. Lotta, Doctor of Medicine, Fellow of Philippine Pediatric Society. Hello, Doc Lotta. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Rupert. Hello, everybody who's listening to us and watching us in this episode of Trip to the Future.
Yes, well, we are excited to have you in today's episode, and we are looking forward to learning more about the field of medical microbiology. Before we get into the questions, Doc, since not all of our viewers and listeners are from the college, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Okay, so I've been with the College of Public Health, like you. No, I'm kind of like an institution already at the college because I also took my BS Public Health with a student number of 89. So you can just imagine that it's still the same setup. So, and it has grown into me, and that's the reason why I came back to the College of Public Health. I finished my Doctor of Medicine at the UERM, which is also known as UPRM. And I pursued my internship and my pediatric training in UP PGH. So after that, medyo parang what will I do? Because there's no other doctor in the family who's practicing pediatrics. So I thought of going back to the College of Public Health. So one of my passion is really to teach. So, and at the time, there was an opening at the Department of Medical Microbiology. And that's the reason why I am with the department. So since 2003, okay, I was hired as an assistant professor, but I left for a while. So I think that was around 2007, 2008. And then I went back again at 2010, 9 or 10. So something like that. So it's been almost, again, another 10 years that I've been with the College of Public Health. So
yes. Thank you so much, Doc, for that. It actually feels nice. It actually feels nice that that someone from the College of Public Health is right now talking with us, who graduated from PH and is now sharing the experience specifically in the field of microbiology. Now, Doc, a question that came into my mind is that how have you been as a health professional, as someone who is accoladed in the field of medical microbiology during this time that battling an elusive microbe, a virus?
You know, it's really very fortunate that I'm also a medical doctor because of the clinical exposure that I can that I get from my patients. No, so it's not just talking about the viruses, but also understanding how this manifests in man or in people, and how you actually manage them and treat them. Although I really don't manage COVID patients, okay, but I've been managing so many infectious diseases. And being in a country like the Philippines, you know that we have tremendous numbers of tropical infections, and a lot of these are microbiological in nature rather than para. So the extent of being exposed and learning more about this disease and then matching it with my knowledge with the actual pathogen makes it a good combination to actually educate my patients, to let them know what's really happening to them. Okay. And of course, the treatment and management and management areas will also be affected.
Thank you so much, Doc, for that. You actually kind of gave us a short overview of how you interact with your patients. But I want to ask, well, can you tell us what made you, or what's the calling that that you heard in order for you, that you took this path of being a doctor and then going back to public health, um, practicing now in the field of microbiology?
We cannot really deny that one of the reasons or the compelling reasons why you went to public health is because you know that it's the best pre-med course. But to tell you, to be honest, it's not just merely a pre-med course. Okay, it's especially now that we have a lot of opportunities to actually explore what public health is. And especially now that you are the first batch of students who will be able to benefit from having an MLS or a medical laboratory science track. So with that, you will have more opportunities to not just go into medicine, okay, but to be medical laboratory scientists, medical technologists, microbiologists, parasitologists with more confidence. Okay, I'm not saying you're going to be like the med techs out there, but at least you will have more confidence now in yourselves when you start assuming the role of a medical technologist or a medical laboratory scientist. But again, it's not just about being an MT. We would want you to always go into a higher level or seek or pursue a higher degree of going into your graduate schools to hone, to enhance and augment whatever knowledge that you have gained during your during your undergraduate course. Okay, so how did I know whether what calling this is? It really just came into place. You know, I always say that if you do not enjoy anything, if you are not passionate about anything, if you're not happy, you will get out. But I am with the College of Public, particularly with the Department of Medical Microbiology for so many years already. I mean, like, kung bibilangin ko since the time that I entered, like 2003, and it's almost like 18 years total. And I would say that I have a good practice as well. I have patients. I have a lot of patients. It actually is competing with my clinical practice. But of course, my main goal or my main work will still be being in the academe. And I guess you really have to have that passion to teach, because not everybody can teach. Tama ba ako, Rupert? It has to be a passion because it translates, di ba? And also, I think being a medical doctor, mas masarap magturo ng microbiology kasi I can apply it. I can relate to what we're saying about when you say gastroenteritis, ano yung nagsusuka, naglalagnat, nagtatae. You can so relate to it. Not like when you're purely if you don't really have that big background in the clinical aspect, it makes it a little bit more difficult to teach the students regarding these infectious diseases.
That's true, Ma'am. I like it that you say that there must be a passion in order for you to go on in this career path. In those experiences, Ma'am, I'm sure you have encountered a lot of challenges, especially not only in the field but also in the country in general, specifically in the field of medical microbiology. There is right now, of course, aside from COVID-19, we are actually experiencing crisis on polio because polio has re-emerged, and we also have measles plaguing our country.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So my question, Doc, is that what challenges and what problems that people who are listening to us, who are interested to venture in the field of medical microbiology, might face in the future?
One of the hurdles that we have to go or surpass is the technology that we have in the Philippines. You know, we have a lot of experts in microbiology. We have a lot of faculty and researchers who have trained abroad. But when they come back here, how can they bring that technology if they don't have the equipment for it? Okay. We talk about PCR, we talk about ELISA, we talk about gel chromatography and so on. But how do you translate that now when you're already in the Philippines with it, or especially in the college when you don't actually have all of those? And it's very hard to get funding. It's not as if, okay, I'm going to make a paper or write a paper, submit it to DOST for funding. It doesn't work. I mean, like, it's not as easy as that. So it will take some time. It will take a lot of, again, your passion and patience as well, because it can be rejected. Then you have to improve it. Okay, you can never give up. Okay, you just have to continue on. And aside from the equipment and the budget, okay, one of the other challenges that we also face with, especially the BSPH graduates, okay, because as we know, we're all BSPH graduates here. So in terms of microbiology, there are certain offices or institutions who may want or who may ask for more microbiology background than the ones that we are just offering in the program. But again, as I said, because of the MLS track, that strengthens the ability of our graduates doing the MLS track to pursue a microbiology career. And also, let me add that if you've heard about the registered microbiologist, which was one of the reasons why in the MLS track, you will see there are several microbiology courses that you will have to take. It's because you need to take at least 24 units of microbiology subjects to meet the requirements of a registered microbiologist. Of course, there's still an exam and so on. But then at least if you already have that, you may have an option of going into MLS, MedTech, or registered microbiologist. Okay? And of course, you have, as I said, you don't stop there. You don't stop with your undergraduate. Go pursue your graduate courses in micro, of course.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I believe you are already calling our listeners to take this. Yes, ma'am. With regards to that, actually, you've already mentioned quite a few times about the MLS track. And it's because to our listeners who are not familiar with this, the College of Public Health now offers for professional tracking for BSPH students. Specifically, we have the Medical Laboratory Sciences and the Population Health track. And I believe, ma'am, I think it's also important that I believe that you're the chair of the BS Public Health Academic Program Committee. And I know that this has been discussed during our teacher episode, but I think since you are the chair, I think you would be able to give us substantial information about this, about this tracking.
Okay. All right. So you want to know more about the track, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again, bakit ba natin ginawa ang MLS track? Kasi feedback from our undergraduates, we lack the skills, we lack the knowledge of being a medtech. That's why you don't feel confident taking the medtech boards. We're not saying that this will be an exact reflection or an exact program of your medtech. At least we are giving more units for your medical laboratory sciences. Okay, so it also doesn't mean that if you did not take your MLS track, you cannot take the medtech boards. You cannot be researchers in laboratories. Now, we're in, most of us or most of our graduates are. It doesn't mean that you cannot go to RITM and then work in the Department of Micro or Viro and so on. Pwede pa rin. But with the MLS track, it gives you more confidence, as I mentioned. Okay, kasi yung iba, tanong baka hindi na ba ako pwedeng hindi na ba ako pwedeng mag-medtech nito? Kasi nga may MLS. And it will not reflect in your transcript of record. It will just say that you're a graduate of public health. We don't put like a parenthesis there that you're MLS or your population health track. Okay, so but because of what happened, because this is the first time that we will be instituting the new curriculum, so we will also be learning from whatever experiences will be encountered as we go through it. So it's quite tough, no, having it, especially now because of the COVID, because one of the aims or one of the learning outcomes for the MLS courses is for the students to have some exposure at PGH or in some other hospital, sort of like a internship, pero hindi siya talaga internship na talaga you'll have to stay there for several weeks, you go on duty from 8 to 5 and so on. But at least the exposure will be there. It's more of you're observing. No? When sa States kasi minsan pag pupunta tayo doon, like you're a medical doctor, observership, parang ganun program yung ginagawa nila. So with that, no, with the COVID, that actually will limit us to have the internship that we are intending to conduct or implement in the MLS tracks. And I'm also proud to say that in the Department of Medical Microbiology, because most of us are actually doctors, PhDs, and so on. But when you talk about medical technologies, meron ba kami medical technologists? Oh, si Ma'am Maro. But to strengthen that, I hired Ma'am Gigi David, who is a medical technologist talaga. That's why she's really going to be helping the department and the MLS track to be implemented in a way na gusto natin. Okay? Or at least close to the ideal. Alright? Kesa naman kulang, no? Well, hindi ko naman sinasabing kulang. Kung hindi, mas maganda yung magkakaroon ng more value to the MLS courses.
Yes po. The MLS track or the tracking in general of BSPH is indeed promising for the students. But ma'am, I think also an essential question to ask is that how about those graduates or those students who will be graduated from the population health track? Would there be opportunities for them in this field?
Oh. In microbiology, yeah. As I said, pwede pa rin sila. But then there's an added value if you took the MLS track. I mean, even for the confidence of that of the person who will be going or pursuing microbiology. And of course, if you want to go like registered microbiologist, hindi na sila eligible for that because you need 24 units. And if you took the pop health track, kulang ka na kagad, di ba? Yon. So, pwede pa rin naman. So, if they want to explore both, siguro, they realize, oh no, kailangan pala dapat ng MLS ako. Then when you go into your graduate studies, you go into something that is connected with medical laboratory science or microbiology, MSPH micro or MSPH para, Nutri. So you can still, it doesn't end there. You can still pursue.
Thank you so much for that assurance, ma'am, that even population health track can still venture in the field of medical microbiology. Just so our viewers can get an idea on the current statistics of microbiology careers in the Philippines, is there any urgent demand in the workforce? I mean, I think yes, because we are battling COVID-19 right now, but I think it's important that we hear the words from you.
Yeah, definitely. Especially now, we are the hottest item here. They need researchers. They need the med techs, especially now. People who can work with the PCR, RT-PCR. So kung BSPH graduate ka, ititrain ka lang nila. Okay? Pero of course, added value pa rin kung ikaw ay med tech with RMT, Registered Medical Technologist. So added value yon. Pero because of the lack of manpower or human resources, Pati yung mga BSPH, tinatawag na rin nila. Basta may experience with laboratory. And it doesn't just mean about working with PCR. Contact tracing is important. Surveillance, no? Surveillance and contact tracing are all also very important. Epidemiology is also very important right now. But if you have a background in microbiology, mas maganda. Kasi you understand the virus. It's easier for you to actually know ano ba yung RNA virus. Okay, ano ba yung, and of course, the part ng medical microbiology is teaching immunology also. So ano ba yung mga vaccine na yan? Ano nga ba yung tinuro yung Dr. Lotta? Kaya lang pandemic noon, hindi nakarating sa amin ng slides. Ayun. So things like that, no? Vaccinology, immunization, these are very, very important aspects also that microbiologists will be needed. Okay, so...
You've been mentioning quite a lot of capabilities, some necessary skills that a person who would like to venture in the field of medical microbiology would need. But I think, ma'am, it's also important to discuss what are the character traits or essential attitudes that a person must hone in order for him or her to succeed here in this field.
Personally, I would say that you should have patience. When you're a researcher, when you're doing microbiologic experiments, you can have errors, you know, then you have to repeat, di ba? Hindi yan tipong overnight may result ka na, di ba? Hindi yan parang numbers may result agad, di ba? So you have to be patient for results to come in, and again, aside from your patience, passion din dapat kasi yan. Yan sasabi ko sa inyo, you have to be happy, unang-una. Diba? Kasi kung hindi kayo masaya, doon sa kinuha niyong cursors, kinuha niyong track, you will not appreciate it. Okay? So, again, microbiology, ang ganda kasi ng microbiology, it's all over. Diba? Lalo na infections, it's very interesting to talk about infections. I'm not saying kailangan gawin mo lang, nasa loob ka ng laboratorio. Diba? You can do researches also. Diba? Researches that doesn't mean that you're inside the laboratory. Okay? Yun nga, yung mga pathogenesis, you can do clinical surveys, diba? Talking to patients, diba? How these infections will be manifesting. So ano pa ba? Patience, passion, hard work. Okay. hindi naman yan, hindi pwedeng tamad. Kailangan may pagka-type A ka, no? Kailangan marunong ka mag-multitask. Okay? Kasi hindi pwedeng ito lang muna gagawin ko kasi ito lang yung kaya kong gawin. Because in microbiology, simultaneously things that may happen all at the same time. Okay? So, kaya kailangan marunong ka rin mag-multitask. So, patience, multitasking, passion, hardworking, no? So these are essential elements of to become a good microbiologist.
Yes, well, thank you for that. Somehow advice na rin for our listeners here. But Doc, let's move to somehow a practical side of working in this field. Actually, working in general. We can't deny that salary is a big part of the decision to venture in this field. If it's all right, can you give us an idea on the financial aspects of working in the field of microbiology, medical microbiology?
Kasi if you're going to be starting like a med tech, hindi siya masyadong malaki talaga. Diba? So basic pay. So what's basic pay now? I'm really not sure. No? Baka 20,000, 30,000. But if you go into research, nandun actually ang pera. Mas maganda ang opportunity if you're doing research. No? Kaya lang most of these researches, if you're going to be research associates, research assistants, you'll probably be just in a contractual basis. Okay. Another, syempre pag public medyo ganun, you can also go into private companies, pharma companies like quality control ng mga gamot, ganyan. Kasi yun, kailangan dapat aseptic yan, and so on. No? Doon siguro baka mas maganda, but it will always be just basic pay. But if you go into your graduate studies, if you take your master's, of course, tataas at tataas yan. And even if you go into your PhD, so hindi ka kailangan maging MD to be a doctor. If you take your PhD, you'll also be a doctor. But it's more of the research aspect of being a doctor. Ayun. So, I think wag din natin masyadong isipin it's all about money. We all need money, that's true. But again, para mag-succeed ka sa isang profession, you have to be happy. You have, isa puso natin siya. Kasi kung hindi, you cannot deliver. I don't think you will be successful. And lahat naman yan will be compensated. Lahat ng work natin, nako-compensate naman yan eventually. It's not like snap of your fingers and that's it, di ba?
Thank you, ma'am. I like it that you say that there has to be puso in that. I mean, UP is about puso, but
True.
yes, we have to also consider having that puso in everything that we do. And I believe really money would just arrive if we are enjoying what we do, if we're learning a lot. Thank you, ma'am, for that. Now let's go to somehow personal question. I think kind of Miss Universe question maybe.
Sige.
Looking
Pag Miss
back,
Universe ako. Wait, let me get my crown. Okay, go.
yes. Looking back, would you have changed anything that happened in your career? Anything that you might have done differently if you could? So we can watch out for these things and maybe learn from that experience.
Would I have changed anything? If you remember in the early part of our interview, everything will come into place. So I will not change anything. The being in the Department of Medical Microbiology in the College of Public Health actually opened up many other opportunities. It did not just limit me to become a medical doctor. It again added value to who I am. Okay, because I'm a microbiologist. Okay, I can talk about your bacteria anytime, your viruses anytime. So I can translate again the the clinical aspect into a more molecular or a microbiological aspect if you get what I mean, a microscopic aspect of talking about the bacteria. You talk about man, you talk about the pathogen. Okay, so I will not change anything because as I said, I'm happy and I know personally that I'm also able to reach out to the students to make them understand better what microbiology is, to make them appreciate better the course. Because remember, kung lahat kami wala namang background sa clinical, parang lost din kayo. Because even my colleagues would ask me, is this right? Is this wrong? What does this mean? And so on. Diba? Kaya I think I will not change anything because everything comes into place. Dinala ako dito, happy ako na nakakatulong ako sa inyo at nakakatulong sa akin ang pagiging professor sa college ng Department of Medical Microbiology ng CPH.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. Actually, I would like to affirm what you said because in actually your lectures that you've given us in PH 152, PH 152, your lectures were I must say very informative, very interesting. You open it with cases, and it's very interesting. Actually, you make it very interesting, and it's true that you are able to somehow impart to us not only the information about microbiology, but also the passion and really the drive to learning everything that we need to know about microbiology. Thank you so much for that, ma'am. Now we are now at the last part of our interview. I'm just gonna ask, ma'am, do you have any last words to our listeners or who are with us listening to our conversation?
You know, it's really very tough to be students right now and to make decisions on what to take when you're done with public health. But always follow your heart. Know when to stop. Okay? Be happy, have the passion, and that will be the key to your success in life. It's not merely just achieving the diploma, completing your MLS track, going into the field of medical laboratory science or microbiology. But more than that is to have the heart, the passion, hindi to complement the mind. Okay? So before that, I would like to ask you a question, Rupert. Why should you date a microbiologist?
I would date a microbiologist kasi kung nabibigyan niya nga ng oras, ang paghihintay ng 24 hours or 48 hours sa pag-culture ng bacteria, malamang mabibigyan niya rin ako ng oras.
Wow, okay. Good answer. But really the answer is because we are well-cultured.
Wow.
Nagets mo ba?
Yes. They're witty and so informative in some aspects.
So I guess you will now all be wanting to become microbiologists, huh? Or maybe you will realize, I should be a microbiologist because I'm well-cultured,
Maybe I'm just gonna date a microbiologist.
Yeah, And one more thing, if you've noticed, all of the faculty in micro are all females. Di ba lahat kami puro babae? Pero let's qualify, magagandang babae.
Beauty queen.
Yeah, pang mga Miss Universe talaga kami. Ayun. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I think that's it, Basta, there's so many opportunities for microbiologists. Just go out and, pag nag-graduate kayo, nag-MLS kayo, and then you want to pursue microbiology, good job. You can teach. That's what I'm doing now. I'm teaching. I'm going into research. I'm going to extension service. We're all around. Lalo na ngayon, masyadong hot item ang micro.
Yes po. Thank you so much, ma'am, for having this very insightful conversation. That's a wrap, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Lotta. Thank you so much for that, for giving us your time and sharing with us your knowledge on the career opportunities in the field of medical microbiology. I am sure many viewers have found this talk enjoyable and, of course, informative as I do. Well, that's it for this year's ALAB Radio Trip to the Future. We hope you gained more insights on what it's like to be a public health professional under different sectors. This is Rupert for ALAB Radio. We hope to see you again in the next series. Until then, may you continue to seek your fire within.
ALAB Radio Trip to the Future is an initiative by ALAB College of Public Health in coordination with UP Manila CPH Student Council and UP Hygiene Society. This program is in partnership with ISEC, University of the Philippines, Manila, Alliance of Public Health Athletes, CPH Hydro, Public Health Artists Circle, Progressive and Responsive Organization of Pharmacy, Industrial Pharmacy Honor Society UPCP, CBOL PH, Staff CPH, in cooperation with UP Biology Majors Association, UP Manila Classical Ensemble, UPM Peer Empowering Peer Society, together with our media partners, SparkUp and WhenInManila.com.